I've never liked parking garages. Even before the world went to hell, they made me uneasy. Too many blind corners, too many echoes. Even the air always felt stale, clinging to my skin like damp cloth. Now, without the hum of fluorescent lights or the distant growl of cars, the silence feels heavier, more watchful. It's been 23 days since the outbreak began. My apartment is almost bare. Half a jar of peanut butter, a bottle of flat soda. I'd been rationing, but tonight, hunger gnawed at my stomach so deep it kept me from sleeping. That's when I remembered the vending machine. It was down in the garage, tucked near the far wall, past the storage lockers. I'd seen it through the stairwell window on day 2, lights still glowing, rows of chips and candy bars untouched. I told myself I'd wait until I absolutely had to. Now, I have to. The stairwell door moans when I push it open, releasing the smell of concrete dust and stagnant air. My flashlight cuts a narrow tunnel of pale light down the steps. Each footfall lands with a hollow, metallic echo, the sound bouncing back from somewhere far below. Halfway down, I hear something. It's faint at first, a wet, rhythmic sound, like water dripping onto stone. I pause, holding my breath. No, not water. The pattern is too steady, too slow. Then I hear it again, a drag, a shuffle, and underneath it, the faintest rasp of breath. I click off the flashlight. Darkness swallows me whole. My ears strain against the silence. Somewhere in the garage, that wet shuffle continues, unhurried, as if whatever is making it doesn't need to rush. I take the last flight of stairs with my hand against the wall, fingertips brushing over flaking paint. When my shoes touch the concrete floor, the air is colder. It smells faintly metallic, like old blood. I switch the light back on. The beam slides across rows of cars, dusty shapes. Shadows fill the spaces between bumpers and tires, thick and still. The vending machine glows faintly at the far end. I move quickly, knees bent to keep my footsteps soft, the flashlight sweeping ahead of me. My shadow stretches long and strange along the floor. I'm maybe 10 feet away when something shifts in the darkness to my right. The beam catches it, a figure, half hidden between 2 SUVs. Its head is tilted at a sharp angle, listening. Its skin is waxy, the eyes 2 pale marbles. The jaw hangs slack, trembling slightly, as if something inside is trying to move it. It turns toward me, and I can feel the dread hit my stomach. From the opposite side of the garage, another sound joins the first. Heavier footfalls, irregular but deliberate. Then another, and another. I back toward the vending machine, my heartbeat in my throat. The wrench in my hand feels slick with sweat. I smash the glass. The sound is deafening, ricocheting through the garage like a gunshot. For a heartbeat, there's silence. Then the shuffling explodes into motion. Candy bars and crumpled bags of chips spill onto the floor. I grab what I can, my hands clumsy with panic, stuffing them into my pack. The sound of pursuit grows louder, shuffles becoming uneven trots, feet dragging against the concrete, bodies scraping along the sides of cars. I start running. The stairwell door is maybe 30 feet ahead, a black rectangle in the gloom. Shapes begin peeling away from the shadows. 5, 6, more. Their movements are jerky, unpredictable, heads snapping in little twitches as if pulled by invisible strings. I veer left between 2 rows of cars, my flashlight bouncing off windshields and throwing bright, fractured shapes across the walls. A pale arm shoots from the darkness, grasping for me. I swing the wrench without thinking. It connects with a sickening crunch, the figure crumpling sideways into a hood with a hollow clang. I don't slow, The stairwell is close enough now that I can feel the faint draft of cooler air seeping from it. Then she's there. A woman, standing at the base of the stairs, facing the wall. Her body jerks in tiny spasms, her fingers twitching at her sides. When I'm 10 feet away, she pivots so fast it's like she was yanked by a hook. Her mouth gapes too wide, teeth bared, and she lunges with the horrible certainty of something that cannot be reasoned with. I slam my shoulder into her, shoving her sideways into the wall, and yank the door open. The stairwell beyond is pitch black. I take the first steps 2 at a time. Halfway up, I freeze. Footsteps from above. They're slow, deliberate, and coming down toward me. From behind, the door to the garage creaks open, the sound of shuffling and low, wet breaths spilling into the stairwell. I'm caught between whatever waits above and whatever just entered below. The air feels too thin. My hands tighten on the wrench, but there's no room here. Walls pressing close, the sound of each step echoing like it's right beside me. I'm trapped, and there is nothing I can do about it. I didn't know the city could be this quiet. Even at 3 in the morning, before the outbreak, there'd always been noise, sirens in the distance, the low hum of traffic, people arguing on the sidewalks. Now, it's like someone turned the volume of the world all the way down. My footsteps sound too loud on the pavement, and every shadow feels like it's holding its breath. I've been scavenging alone for 2 weeks. I don't even remember the last time I spoke to another living person. The isolation doesn't bother me much. What bothers me is how the streets change when the sun goes down. It's not just darker. It's like the buildings lean in, the alleys narrow, and there's a pressure in the air that wasn't there before. Tonight, I'm looking for medicine. My leg's been swelling since I cut it on a fence 2 days ago. The gash is red and hot, and if I can't find antibiotics soon, I won't have to worry about the infected. I'll just die on my own. The pharmacy is 3 blocks away. I stick to the middle of the street so nothing can come at me from above. I pass a burnt-out bus lying on its side. Something shifts inside, something heavy dragging across metal. I freeze, then move on without looking in. The pharmacy door is locked, but glass shatters easily enough if you're desperate. The alarm doesn't go off. Nothing does. The air inside smells faintly of bleach and something else, like meat. I sweep the aisles quickly. Cans of baby formula, dusty boxes of cold medicine, but no antibiotics. Behind the counter, though, I see a plastic bin of unexpired pill bottles. Jackpot! But that's when I hear it. Not footsteps, too light for that. More like something brushing against the shelves at the far end of the aisle. My stomach knots. I turn my head just enough to see between the displays, and a figure steps into view. At first, I think it's a man, tall, broad-shouldered, wearing what might have once been a jacket. But then it tilts its head, and the movement is all wrong. Too far, too fast. Its mouth opens and no sound comes out. I back toward the counter, but it doesn't follow. It just watches, head tilted, eyes that milky pale color that means it's one of them. My mind screams to run, but my body refuses to turn my back on it. Then I see movement behind it. 2 more, then 3. They slip into the aisle one by one, each taking a position like chess pieces, blocking the way out. None of them make a sound. None of them move closer. It takes me a moment to realize what they're doing. They're waiting for me to panic. I try the side door, but the key lock is jammed with something soft. My fingers come away damp and dark. My pulse pounds in my ears. I scan for another way out, but the only option is the front entrance, straight through them. The tallest one takes a single step forward. The others follow, perfectly in sync, their bodies swaying slightly as they close in. Still no noise, no snarling or hissing, just the sound of their bare feet on the linoleum. I grab a metal crutch from behind the counter and hold it out in front of me. My hands shake so badly I can barely keep it steady. They keep advancing, slow, deliberate. The distance between us is shrinking. I take one step back and feel the wall behind me. There's nowhere left to go. Then, without warning, the lights go out. In the dark, I hear them move, faster now, but never breaking that strange, deliberate rhythm. I swing wildly, feel the crutch connect with something solid, and then something cold and wet brushes my face. I drop the crutch and stumble sideways, knocking over an end cap of cereal boxes. My flashlight rolls away, casting its beam up at the ceiling. In that thin cone of light, I see their shapes closing in, bending low, surrounding me. I grab the flashlight and run. My leg screams in pain, but adrenaline pushes me forward. I hit the glass door, shoulder first. It holds. I hit it again. It gives on the second impact, shards biting into my hands as I spill into the street. The night air feels like ice in my lungs, but I don't stop. My footsteps echo off the dead buildings as I run. I risk one glance back. They're still in the doorway, all three of them, just watching me run. I make it 5 blocks before my leg gives out. I collapse against a brick wall, gasping, the pill bottles rattling in my pack. They didn't follow. That should make me feel safe. It doesn't, because I know why they stayed behind. They weren't chasing me. They were memorizing my face. And now they know exactly where to find me when they're ready. I never liked the basement, even before the world ended. It's the smell, concrete, mildew, and something older, something that makes you think of graves. Even before everything went wrong, I avoided coming down here unless I had to. But when the sirens started, when the distant screams turned into closer ones, I didn't think. I just ran. The trapdoor slammed shut above me, bolts sliding home before my brain could catch up. The power died less than an hour later. The bulb above me fizzled and popped, leaving me with a flashlight and a battery-powered radio. That first night, the radio was my lifeline. A voice, tired but calm, telling us to stay indoors, lock doors and windows, avoid all contact. They called them infected, not zombies, never zombies, as if a different word could make it less terrifying. By morning, the voice was gone, only static. The first day, I heard them upstairs, slow, dragging steps, too heavy to be anything else. Once, something brushed along the wall above me, a soft bump, as if someone had leaned against it and stayed there too long. My mind told me it was looters, but the smell told me the truth. Rot. Sweet, cloying rot that seemed to seep through the floorboards. I've been down here for weeks. My phone died 3 days in. My watch stopped ticking sometime after that. I drink from a leaky pipe in the corner, ration stale crackers from an old emergency kit. Hunger gnaws at me, but it's not the worst part. The worst part is how deliberate they are. Sometimes they pace directly above me, the wood creaking with each slow step. Sometimes they stop right over the trapdoor, perfectly still, as if listening. I made the mistake of checking. It was the second night. I cracked the door an inch, just to see if the way out was clear. One of them was standing at the bottom of the stairs, facing me. The flashlight beam caught its face, half of it missing, jaw hanging by a strip of tendon, but its eyes were locked on mine. Not milky and blind like in the movies, focused, almost human. I slammed the door, threw the bolts, didn't sleep for 2 nights. They're not like I expected. No moaning, no frantic clawing. They move with patience, precision, like they know I'm here, and they're just deciding when to get me. Tonight, something's changed. The pacing stopped hours ago. The silence is worse than the noise. My heart's been pounding the whole time, waiting for the next step, the next thud, but nothing comes. The air feels heavier, warmer, as if the room itself is holding its breath. My flashlight flickers every few minutes, and when it does, I see shapes in the dark leaning forward, too tall, gone when the light steadies. Then came the first sound in hours. A dull, deliberate thump against the trapdoor, not hard enough to break it. Just a single testing knock, like the sound you make when deciding if someone's home. A few minutes later, another. They want me to open it. I stay frozen in the middle of the basement, counting my own breaths, my ears straining for footsteps. But instead of walking away, the weight above the door shifts, and I hear a faint exhale. It was slow, measured, almost calm. The smell grows stronger, drifting down like a fog, and I know they haven't left. I think about running, but the memory of that face stops me cold. That thing could have rushed me when I cracked the door before. It didn't. It just stood there, watching. The flashlight's beam is dying fast now. Each flicker lasts longer. The last time it went out, I thought I saw something in the far corner. An arm bent wrong, the glint of wet skin. But when the light returned, it was gone. And then I heard movement from behind the far wall, the one pressed against the old storm drain. There's no reason for there to be sound there, but something is shifting on the other side. Slow, careful, like someone moving in the dark without wanting to be heard. I hold my breath, listening. The noise pauses, then resumes. There's a faint sound of crumbling, like damp concrete being displaced. A low rush of air follows it, warm and rancid. My mind starts doing the math. The storm drain connects to the street. If they figured out how to get into the drain, they could come from below. The room feels smaller by the second. A piece of loose mortar falls from the wall and lands at my feet. I stare at the gap it leaves, and in that gap I see movement. Not fast, not lunging, but steady. The outline of a shoulder, the slow turn of a head. I don't see the eyes, but I don't need to. I feel them. There's no sound now, no pacing, no thumping, just the sense that they're in the room with me, that they've been here longer than I realized. And I finally understand. Those noises upstairs, the ones I thought were them moving around, they weren't moving at all. They were waiting for me to come up. And now that I won't, they've decided to come down. I had stopped keeping track of the days after the news stopped broadcasting. At first, the anchors had tried to stay cheerful, reading infection counts like weather reports, as if numbers could keep us calm. But when the cameras started showing the wrong kinds of faces, slack jaws, gray skin, eyes fixed on nothing, those broadcasts turned into screaming and then into static. After that, the city was quiet, too quiet. I've been holed up in my apartment for weeks, months. My food supply ran out 2 nights ago. The only water left is what drips into the rusted bucket from the leaking bathroom ceiling. I told myself I'd wait until daylight to go scavenging. Everyone knows not to move at night. But hunger makes you stupid. I decided to go out just before dawn, that strange dead hour when the sky is bruised purple and the streets smell like wet concrete. I moved down the stairwell, flashlight off. The building groaned with every step, metal and wood swelling from the damp. I hated how loud my breathing sounded. When I reached the lobby, the glass front doors were shattered inward. Shards glittered in the dim light like a warning. Outside, the street was littered with cars left at odd angles, their doors hanging open, keys still in ignitions, pigeons picked at something in the road. Something that wasn't moving. I stepped over it, avoiding looking too closely. There was a corner store 2 blocks down that might still have cans. I hugged the wall as I walked, keeping my eyes darting from shadow to shadow. Every sound, a loose sign creaking in the wind, a paper cup rolling across asphalt, sent my pulse spiking. I didn't see any of them at first. The store's windows were intact, which felt like a miracle. I pried the door open as quietly as I could and slipped inside. The air was stale, but not rotten. Shelves still held dusty tins of beans, pasta, even bottled water. I filled my pack, hands trembling, knowing this kind of luck doesn't last. That's when I heard it. Not a groan, not the wet shuffle of feet, just breathing. Slow, steady, wrong. I froze. It was coming from the end of the aisle, where the light didn't quite reach. My brain screamed to run, but my legs betrayed me, inching forward as if curiosity was a stronger instinct than survival. Then I saw her. She was standing perfectly still between the shelves, facing away from me. Her hair was matted to her scalp, her skin the color of paper, but her chest rose and fell in deliberate rhythm. She wasn't swaying. She wasn't snarling. She was waiting. For me. I backed away, and her head snapped toward me, not turning, but twisting, the neck bending far too far. Her eyes were milk white, her lips peeled back over broken teeth, and the sound she made was like air escaping a punctured lung. The front door slammed against the wall as I burst outside. My backpack banged against my spine, but I didn't stop. Around the corner, more shapes emerged from the shadows. 6 of them, their heads jerking toward me like hunting dogs catching a scent. Their mouths opened in unison. No screaming, no moaning, just silence. That silence followed me all the way back to my building. I slammed my apartment door, locked it, shoved the couch in front of it. My lungs burned, but I forced myself to stay quiet. I listened. Nothing. Hours passed. I almost convinced myself I'd imagined it. Then the moaning started. It came from the hallway, slow, drawn out, painful. It moved up and down my doorframe like they were feeling the shape of it. I pressed my ear to the wall and heard breathing. Not frantic or labored, just patient. That was 3 days ago. The moaning hasn't stopped. Sometimes it's at the front door, sometimes at the bedroom wall, as if they're circling me. I've blocked the windows, but I hear them on the fire escape now, pacing. I don't know if they need to eat, or if they just want me to know I'm not going anywhere. Last night, I woke to find the bucket in the bathroom empty. The drip from the ceiling had stopped, but the smell, it was stronger, wet, metallic. And then I realized it was breath, coming from above me, and I had no escape.